So first off, I gotta say, Outlaw Radio Live fans, we are live on the air with none other than the legendary Baby Bash. How are you doing tonight?
Hey, what it do, man? All is lovely, all is gracious, it's all good, man. Out here in Texas, just marinating, chilling.
Hey man, that's the best way to do it. Best way to do it. I know you're a busy guy, so I want to ask you, what made you decide to get into the music industry?
The music industry, well, I had some homies that were doing music, and then they were in the studio, and I used to just be like, man, I could do this too, you know what I'm saying? So after basketball practice, I go to the studio and watch them, get in the lab and start making songs, and I just started writing hooks. I mostly started off just doing hooks. I write all my own hooks and choruses, so I would write hooks for other people. Then the rapping part came kind of easy afterwards. So that's kind of the easy part of just coming up with the raps. The hooks and the song content to me is my specialty. That's what I like to do, and then the rap just follows suit.
And also, I read that you were originally wanting to be a professional basketball player. I have to ask you, who was your favorite player that inspired you that wanted to play ball? Who was your favorite player?
My favorite player of all time was Charles Barkley, but I played like Steve Nash. They called me Steve Bash because I got handles. I was a point. I played for a junior college. I was a point guard, but I could shoot. I had nice jumper, nice Jimmy. So they called me Steve Bash.
Hey man, that's actually pretty catchy. I think if you were to kind of switch professions, I think that actually would go suit you very well.
Yeah, I still be hooping on them boys, man. I played them a lot of celebrity games and celebrity basketball games with a lot of people, and people trip out like, oh, okay, Bash is a hooper. He's really a hooper, okay.
So this one's probably going to take you way back, but when you first started your career, you didn't call yourself Baby Bash. You called yourself Baby Bish. Then later changed it to now Baby Bash. What made you decide to change your name?
When I was Baby Bish, I had a little contract negotiations on one side, so instead of being held with that name, I just went with Baby Bash, which was another moniker that people would call me, you know what I'm saying? So I kind of just switched it over. It wasn't really intentional, but as far as contracts and stuff like that, the name-wise, I had to kind of, when I got my deal with Universal, I had to come with a whole new game plan because the other name was kind of caught up on some stuff, and I didn't feel like going through all the courts, so I just changed it up real quick.
Hey, it's the best way to do it. It's easy, fast, and efficient, and it saves you a lot of money as well, so that's what's up.
Exactamundo. So it all turned out well,
And also, your first album got released in 2001 called Savage Dreams. I have to ask, what's the inspiration behind that iconic record, and how did that one come to be?
Savage Dreams. Well, I was working with South Park Mexican, Dope House Records. When I put that out, it was under Dope House Records, and the album cover was a takeoff the Bruce Lee Enter the Dragon, which is one of my favorite movies. I'm a big Bruce Lee fan, and I believe in a lot of his philosophies. So it's my first solo album, and we sold like. So we're almost at 100. We sold like 100,000 independently back when Southwest Wholesale was cracking. So my first album independently did pretty good, and that's when a bigger buzz started coming along. Before I started doing radio, there was no radio songs on that album. That was more kind of more street shit. You know what I'm saying? So it was more of Dope House Records type music. And then I got my record deal in 2003 with the radio song, and I started doing radio songs and getting really paid, and it kind of caught my attention to do more radio friendly songs. So I developed my recipe and started creating radio hits.
And speaking of like radio hits and whatnot, so the Smoky Nephew is your first major label studio album. I have to ask you, how does it feel knowing your first major album went gold?
It's platinum now. Yeah, I won $1 million now, but man, it's a great feeling. Man, it's a great feeling. A lot of years, a lot of work into it, and it came out nice. I got to be myself. I didn't have to change up. I didn't have to get no funny haircuts. I didn't have to act crazy. I didn't have to act wild for attention. I didn't have to, take a lot of drugs. To act wild. I got to actually be myself. The chill, humble hustler that I am. I got to keep that image and still sell 1 million copies. That's a great accomplishment, and I really, I really enjoyed it. And I ain't looked back since. Everything's been gravy ever since.
Hey man, you can never go wrong with a platinum record on your wall, man. You can never go wrong with that.
Well, then Cyclone went 3 minutes, triple platinum as a single. So Cyclone was in. That was later on down the line. But yeah, I've got a nice office full of a lot of plaques, so it's pretty good.
I actually have to say, Cyclone was actually on my question list, but since we're on the topic, I might as well tackle that one. First off, I gotta say, I remember being in high school as a kid. That song was plastered everywhere. Everybody was like, "Take it off, it's playing too much." I loved it, man. I really did. My favorite song by you. And I have to ask, that collaboration with you and T-Pain, I feel is iconic, as does the rest of the world. How did you and T-Pain get connected?
Well, I see T-Pain doing shows. When I did Sugar Sugar, he had the bartender out, and I just, felt his vibe, and he felt my vibe, and he's like, man, we're gonna do a song together soon. We'd see each other at shows, like at shows we'd do. So we'd always talk. And Little John produced it. So all three of us would see each other at different shows or different venues, and be like, man, we're gonna work. So finally, Little John gave me that beat. I threw the hook in it, and T-Pain happened to be in Florida, so I sent him the track. I said, here we go, man. We talked about it. Let's be about it. So he laced it up, sent it back, and the rest is history. I had got a new record deal by then. I was on Clive Davis had signed me by then. I had finished with Universal, which I put out Sugar Sugar and the song with Akon, Baby I'm Back, which is one of my favorite songs. And then after that, I got signed to Clive Davis at J Records, RCA, and that's how we put out Cyclone. So that worked out great.
Oh man, I gotta say, it's still one of my absolute favorite songs by you. I still bump that like it came out yesterday.
Yeah, when you were in high school, y'all were grinding like a motherfucker. That song was a grinder. That's when everyone was grinding on each other on the dance floor.
I think actually my high school, I actually banned that song from one of our dances, and someone.
Are you serious, dog?
It's funny though, because our school was really strict, but somebody tipped the DJ to play it anyways, and they actually did.
Oh, okay.
The DJ got fired, but us kids weren't complaining.
Hey, we'll take it. We'll take that spin.
So I also have to ask, you also did some amazing work with the artist Akon, man. I have to ask, how did you get hooked up with Akon?
Oh yeah. Well, me and Akon were signed on Universal together. When he had Locked Up, I had Sugar Sugar. I had Follow with Sugar Sugar, and we were both on Universal. And when I went to New York to do some work at the Hit Factory studio, they have different rooms in there, and then Avery Littman from Universal said, "Hey, Akon's at Studio B. Why don't you guys connect and do something together?" I'm like, "Cause Akon's gonna." And this is when Akon just had Locked Up, so he was still new too. Like I was new out of the blue. Sugar Sugar came out of the blue. Akon Locked Up came out of the blue. So we were both kind of artists on the rise. And we got in the studio, and then we did that song, "Baby I'm Back," which one of my favorite songs to perform. And we did the song probably in about 30 minutes, 45 minutes. It was so natural that we ended up doing another one, on the same album. So we ended up doing two songs together called "No Way Jose" is another song from me and Akon. It's called "No Way Jose," which is to me such a great record. We didn't push it as a single, but it's still a great record. So working with Akon, man, he's a solid dude. Good. I'm proud to call him a friend. He's a hero. He tries to help the world out. He's a good guy. Him and his brother Boo, we became real good friends on the road and hanging out. So it's always good working with Akon and doing something with good people and not assholes. I refuse to work with assholes. You know what I mean? I try to get the character right. So I work with pretty much good people. I try to, at least.
And that's the best way to do it, man. You don't want that bad negative vibe in the studio, man. You know, you want to make magic.
Yeah. Yeah, I see. Unfortunately, this business, I'm behind the scenes, and I see how a lot of artists really are. A lot of fucking rappers and artists who are cocky and the assholes to people. You know what I mean? But when the cameras are on, they try to be nice, and the public falls for it. Oh, such a good person. Then I see all the background shit, man, and I try to stay away from the hoe ass motherfuckers that think they're better than everybody. You know what I mean? It's really just a downer, and unfortunately, I see it a lot in the music industry. I guess it's part of the culture is being real braggadocious and want to be tough, I guess. But I can't get into that, man. I'm too chill.
Hey, man, No, no. I also have to ask before we move on. Do you think in the near future, or even in the future, you and Akon will be producing any more iconic tracks?
You know what? I talked to Akon maybe about a month ago, and he was talking about getting in the studio. I was like, yeah. He said I've been working. Man, I've been trying to save the world, putting on. You know, he's doing a lot of work in Africa, helping the kids with schools and electricity. And he's like, man, let's get in the studio. So we talked about it. So you know, in my lifestyle, I'm so busy with what I'm doing that it's good to say, hey, we'll get in the studio, but it's actually got to find the right time to get in there at the right time is the hardest part because we live in different sections of America. So we're gonna do it though. I believe we're gonna do it pretty soon. It's gonna be dope. Always working with Akon is real dope.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I can see that hitting the radio like old days, man. I can see that hitting the radio for sure.
Hell yeah, that radio candy. I specialize in radio candy.
Hey man, you know what? It works, man. That's what got you majority of those plaques on the wall, man. So keep grinding.
And I got to be myself. I didn't have to play. I didn't have to play another character. I didn't have to act ignorant. I didn't have to, act a fool. I could be myself. I didn't have to dress funny, dress real crazy for attention. I could actually be myself, and that's the proudest thing I am about this whole career. Just I got to do it my way.
You are also a ghostwriter for artists like Paula DeAnda, Jennifer Hudson, and Frankie J.
Yeah.
What made you decide to get into ghostwriting?
Well, I'm a writer by nature. Like I said, when I first was in the studio, I was only writing hooks and choruses for people that come in, and I'm real good with melodies. I grew up listening to a lot of oldies but goodies, so I just think growing up, melodies have been in my head my whole life. I just, now when I hear music, I come with melodies, and that's what I did at first when I got in the industry. So when it comes to writing for other people, it's just natural, just coming natural. Paula was 15 years old when we met, and they let me hear her sing, and I said, oh, I have to write for this voice. You know what I mean? I just had to, and we wrote her a nice hit, and she had a nice little run too, so it was great to be part of that, And then, of course, the publishing, when you write, you get a lot of money from the publishing, so there's nothing wrong with a little bit of publishing money, you feel me?
Hey, man, there ain't no wrong with any kind of money, as long as it pays the bills.
Yeah, there it is. There it is. We in there like swimwear, man. In there like swimwear.
As I also have to ask this, you are also a 6-time High Times Cannabis Cup winner. How does it feel knowing you won 6 times?
Man, it's a great feeling. I want to shout out to High Times, all the cannabis cups. I am the godfather of pre-roll. I was the first artist to ever have pre-roll marijuana cigarettes. Real package. It's documented. So when we enter our product into different cannabis cups, it always feels good to win. You know what I'm saying? And now pre-rolls are everywhere. But back in 2013, 2014, it was unheard of. And I'm the first one to ever have it. And now they're everywhere. I mean, the whole cannabis community now is about pre-rolls and vape carts. You know what I mean? That's kind of the get down is convenience of a pre-roll or a vape cart, and that's what people are digging into these days. So I'm proud to be a part of history. I'm proud to be saving lives one plant at a time. My cannabis is my passion. I've been doing it since before it was cool. You know what I'm saying? Before it was legalized. I was going to jail and shit for it. So it feels good to actually have the world wake up and realize that the plant is a healing and the pills are the killing. You know what I mean?
Like, I even heard on the internet, some woman actually got cured of cancer from marijuana, man. So you know what? That's what's up.
Well, I'm not saying it's going to cure cancer, but certain people, certain genetics, it can actually help reduce. You know what I mean? It all depends on what you're taking. I got a CBD store in Houston, Texas called Organic Prime. Saving lives one plant at a time with Organic Prime. You can hit up organicprime.com. We got all exotic CBD in stock for all your wellness needs. So it don't stop. It's music and marijuana. Eminem, music and marijuana. That's my life right now.
And that was actually my next question. So Cannabis Prime is your store. What made you decide to start your own CBD store?
Organic Prime. It's called Organic Prime. Remember, don't panic. It's organic. Organic Prime. I just actually my Maltese was 14 years old, barely could walk, just not eating, not being, she's just old. And next thing you know, my girl About 2 months later, I see her with energy. I'm like, what's going on? I asked my girl. My girl said, I've been giving her CBD for the last 2 months in her food every night, and now look at her. So that made me a believer because I was real skeptic about that. So when I see my dog really get healed and live for more years, I had to open up a store, and I started for pets only first. I was going to do this for pets because I know a lot of people love their pets and want to keep them right, but then it just expanded to people want to come in. I got a couple of people who are in wheelchairs who just come faithful customers. They come get it every week because it makes them feel right. So once I started seeing that's really, really helping people, man, I couldn't stop. I got to keep on going. I got to keep on pushing, man. Pills kill, plants heal. You know what I mean? That's my slogan. Pills kill, but plants heal. We're going to work with that.
And you know what? That is one hell of a great saying. I agree with that 110%. Your newest album, one of your most recent albums, newest one, is called Don't Panic, It's Organic. What's the inspiration behind
Hello.
that record? I can probably already tell. And where can our listeners buy or stream that record?
You're going to hear it on all platforms. Don't panic, it's organic is a saying I've been using for many moons, many calendars. I'm just living organic life in my food, in my plants, in my life. All I want to do is deal with organic, man. There's so many pesticides, there's so much poison and toxins going on out here in the world today. Not only in marijuana, just all around. So I try to keep everything clean and organic, and I just want to push the envelope. I want to spread the love, and make sure a lot of people, can shake whatever they're doing, the toxic stuff, and get organic in their life, and help them out. I see it happen, and when I see it help someone's life and affect their life in a good way, it makes me feel. It feels better than getting a platinum record. I know that sounds crazy, but watching someone's life change from a plant that I'm giving them, it feels better than a gold record, platinum record.
And I have to ask this one. So a couple days ago, I was watching your live stream on Instagram. You're sitting in California, getting high, you were talking about a tour that you're going on. It's all across America tour. Could you tell our listeners a little bit more about that and what pit stops you're making? Maybe our listeners can come out, snag some last minute tickets, and see Baby Bash perform live.
Yeah, well, man, I mean, my manager sent me my schedule, and it's barely January, so the schedule is going to grow. But we stay on the Don't Panic, It's Organic tour. And so far, I've got like 28 dates on my calendar all over the United States, West Coast, down south, New Jersey, East Coast. So we're spread out. So if you go on on my social media, you'll see all the dates on there, and you can follow me and see all the dates and come smoke me when I touch down.
Hey man, that's what's up. I have to ask, Baby Bash, what's next for you? Other than the tour, do you have any new up and coming projects you want to let our listeners know about while we have you here?
Yes, I'm working with Danny Trejo, the almighty Danny Trejo, a.k.a. Machete, one of the baddest Mexican actors in the game. You've seen him in many movies. He's got a record label. We're doing some doo-wop music, some oldies, soldies music that sounds like it's from the 60s, but it's actually brand new. It's called the Chicano Soul Shop. Chicano Soul Shop Volume 1 is out right now. Getting a lot of artists to come in. I'm working with Paul Wall on another Legalizers album. I'm working with Frankie Che on another Sangria album. And it don't stop, and I just keep on pushing. And my label is called Bash Town. So follow me on my Instagram, my Twitter, my Facebook, Baby Bash, and get the latest and the greatest.
So this is the time in the interview, Baby Bash, that I give the chance for the individual that comes on my show a chance to give shout-outs to whomever they want to give shout-outs to. And also, if you can, provide your social media handles again and any websites you would like to direct our listeners to. That way they can follow you and check you out if they're not already doing that.
Perfecto. Shout out to Outlaw Radio for having your boy on, man, and giving y'all some real game. My career, my journey has been great, and it don't stop. It ain't gonna stop. We're gonna keep it real prime, one plant at a time. You can follow me on all my social media, and I'm one of the artists that actually engage back with people. I try to talk back to people because I'm always in airports and always in hotels, so I do have some time to engage back sometimes. But it's Baby Bash. Look for the blue check. Look for the blue check on everything because there's a lot of fake pages going on. They're trying to say they're me and they're trying to get at people on DMs. But I only have one Instagram page. It's Baby Bash. You'll see the blue check on it. If it don't got a blue check, then throw it out. So it's really me. Twitter, Baby Bash. Facebook, Baby Bash. Snapchat is the official Baby Bash. And what else I got? That's all about. I had MySpace, but I forgot my code.
Yeah, I don't know. MySpace is like gone. I don't even think anybody really uses that very much anymore. That's going way back.
Yeah, I forgot my code anyway. Even if it was around, I couldn't get to it.
If anybody's using MySpace, just create a Facebook, follow Baby Bash. You know what I mean?
I remember hearing a couple years ago Justin Timberlake was going to try to bring it back, but I guess it didn't work.
Oh no. I think Facebook pretty much took that right over.
I appreciate though, man. Good interview though. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you very much, man. Before I get you off, I just want to say myself, thank you so much for coming up on Outlaw Radio Live, and thank you for many, many amazing memories from when I was younger through your music, man. Thank you.
Man, keep it lit, man, and let's do it, man. I appreciate the love.
Hey, most definitely, man. God bless you. Happy New Year, and I wish you all the best. Safe travels on your tour, man. Thank you so much for coming up on Outlaw Radio Live.
Right on, player. Appreciate it.